Chapter 4706. Although he didn't quite understand some of his father's words, when Duan Niantian learned that his mother could only be hidden by his father, he still realized that although his father had now entered the Hedao realm, in God the earth world is not without its crises. Moreover, this crisis obviously does not come from the enemies from outside the world in the past, such as Leihong, Yun Qingyan and others. But they are the aborigines from the world of the gods, a super family with two powerful men in the Hedao realm. I've made everything clear to you. Duan Lingtian looked at Yang Tianhe and said calmly, as for how to choose, it is entirely up to you. And now Yang Tianhe, although he is a strong man at the 8th level of Taoism, usually his face does not change even when Mount Taishan collapses in front of him, but his expression at this moment is different. Still slightly embarrassed, he forced a smile and said, Master Duan Lingtian, thank you for telling me this. If in this case, it is indeed inappropriate. After all, I am not alone. Behind me is the Shaoshan Dao sect. The Shaoshan Taoist sect is also afraid of being targeted by the Wanshanshan family. Yang Tianhe said. Yang Chun on the side was also frightened into a cold sweat. Be obedient. Wanshanshan family? That is considered to be one of the top forces in the world of eyes and earth. Without his father's reminder, he knew that he could no longer worship this master. Just like that, a farce ended. If you want any favors later, you should think about it carefully. Duan Lingtian nodded to Yang Tianhe, and then looked at Zhao Ani aside. Old Zhao, please make arrangements for Lao Yang and his son. Nian Tian and his son and I have not seen each other for many years, and we still have a lot of private things to say. Upon hearing this, Zhao Ani quickly took Yang Tianhe and his son away. During this process, Yang Tianhe also apologized to Duan Lingtian repeatedly, but Duan Lingtian didn't care, because if he were Yang Tianhe, he would have made the same choice. After all, the Wanshanshan family is not a good person. Even if he is a strong person in the Hedao realm, there is nothing he can do about it for the time being. After all, they also have the Hedao realm, and there are two of them. One of them is a being who combines the three ways. After Zhao Ani took the people away, only Duan Lingtian and his son were left for a while. Duan Niantian couldn't help but asked with a worried look, Father, what did you mean just now? I heard half understanding, tell me about it. Also, where is my mother? I miss her. I want to see her. Duan Lingtian smiled and said, Niantian, don't worry, Father will tell you slowly. As for your mother, I will take you to see her now, and I will tell you while I am on my way. As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Lingtian took his son and set off. On the way, after Duan Niantian learned the ins and outs of the matter from his father, his face was not very good. Father, isn't the Wanshanshan family a little too domineering? Father, you didn't mean it. You come from the creation life world. In the past, you didn't even know the existence of the divine land world, let alone Hedao. Now, you actually plan to come to you for trouble. Isn't this just looking for trouble? What do they want to do? Is it possible that I want you, Father, to abolish your own way? It's ridiculous. Duan Niantian became angrier as he talked. It's because I don't have the strength, otherwise I would definitely vent my anger on you, Father. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian smiled. It was not easy for his son to have the strength to vent his anger for him. He had to at least enter the Hedao, and his son was not even a Daoist now. Soon, Duan Lingtian took his son to his family. His wife Li Fei was naturally extremely happy when she saw her son. Father Duan Ruffeng, Mother Li Ro and others were also very happy, and they all circled around Duan Niantian. Niantian, you are dark, but you are also a lot stronger. Brother, you are finally back. Niantian, itll be good if you come back, itll be good if you come back. Duan Lingtian stood in the distance, looking at his son surrounded by stars like a moon, with a smile on his face. And at the same time, a figure also entered Jianglan Divine Kingdom from outside the north of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. In the blink of an eye, it has been decades since I came to this world of gods and earth. Shao Tian has stepped into the realm of Hedao, and now I have also stepped into the 9th level of Taoism. Feng Qingyang Yukong went to Jianglan Divine Kingdom, his face with a bit of emotion. He said, I really didn't expect that the law of time that had ceased to work after I came to the world of gods and earth. After I went to that place, I actually realized something and successfully changed it. It turned into the way of time. My Dzogchen law of time has been transformed into 7, 7 and 88, and I have reached the 6th level. The reason why his swordsmanship can reach the 9th level so quickly this time is also related to his mastery of the way of time. Because, in the past, his swordsmanship was greatly affected by the law of time. After coming to this world, without the law of time as a basis, although his swordsmanship did not deteriorate, it lost a bit of spirit. Now he has mastered it. The way of time, the way of swordsmanship is once again given a trace of time attribute, making rapid progress. A few days ago, his swordsmanship successfully entered the 9th level, and he also naturally advanced to the 9th level. Find Xiao Tian and tell him about this. If his space law can be transformed into the way of space, his strength will definitely be further improved. By then, the 3rd path he has combined can be the way of space way. In the world of gods and earth, there is also the way of space. Now, he can master the way of time and can continue to understand the law of time in the past. How can it be impossible for his disciple Duan Lingtian to master the way of space? Although he was outside, Feng Qingyang heard the news of Duan Lingshan's promotion to Hadao clearly. He also knew that Duan Lingshan's Duan Mansion had moved to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, so he went directly to Duan Mansion, the capital of the country. However, after arriving at Duan Mansion, they found that Duan Lingtian was not there. In fact, even Yu Shao, whom he didn't really want to see, was not there. Therefore, he could only go to Qingyun Mansion next door to find Zhao Ani. Fellow Daoist Zhao. Feng Qingyang's return also surprised Zhao Ani. After learning that the other party came back to find Duan Lingtian, he bluntly said that Duan Lingtian was still in the Duan Mansion half a day ago. If he is not here now, he probably took his newly returned son with him. Try to find family and friends. Have you found Nian Tian? Hearing that Duan Lingshan's son had been found, Feng Qingyang's eyes lit up. He still liked that clever disciple. He was living outside. He had worried about his safety more than once. Now that he knew that the other party come back, he also breathed a sigh of relief. Why are you leaving? Feng Qingyang asked. When he learned the ins and outs of the matter from Zhao Ani, his face gradually darkened. Wanshanshan family? Chapter 4707. Feng Qingyang had heard about some things about Duan Lingtian, such as his promotion to Hadao. However, Feng Qingyang did not know that Duan Lingtian was targeted by 2 Hadao masters from the Wanshanshan family. Although he had heard it said before that there were people in the world of gods and earth who had also combined the infinite sword way, but he doesn't think that's the case. The method is completely coincidental. Moreover, he feels that since his disciple Duan Lingtian has become a Hadao, even if the other party is a little dissatisfied, it should not be a problem. But he didn't expect that he would come to his door and want to settle a score with his disciple. This is a bit much. For a moment, Feng Qingyang's eyes also shone with an icy cold light. With the foundation of the laws of time in the great perfection that I laid down in the world of creation life plan, my way of time will soon be able to step into the 7th level and then all the way go up quickly. The 9th floor should not take too long. At least, it's much faster than the other way I comprehended before. Using the way of time and the way of swordsmanship, it will be more efficient and faster. It can be said that before mastering the way of time, Feng Qingyang still had doubts about whether he could combine the way, but now his confidence has greatly increased, and he feels that with his swordsmanship and the way of time, he may not be unable to combine the way. Now, he just wants to find his disciple Duan Lingtian and take him to that mysterious place to see if he can restart the law of space in disguise and master the way of space under the environment there. If possible, with the other party's attainments in the way of space, he will soon be able to advance the way of space to the 9th level. Coupled with the already profound Tao of control, with the current age of his disciples, it is impossible to become the first contemporary person in the world of gods and earth, and the second person in the history of the world of gods and earth to combine the 4 ways. And Lei Hong? He almost killed Nian Tian. After learning what Lei Hong had done from Zhao Enya's mouth, Feng Qingyang's eyes almost overflowed with murderous intent, with a look of frost on his face. Then Lei Hong was promoted to the 8th level of the Tao, and then he drifted away. Don't let me catch the chance, otherwise he will definitely die. Now that he has entered the 9th level, he doesn't care if he kills Lei Hong, who has entered the 8th level. He has even mastered the way of time and is sure to keep the opponent. If I also advance to Hadao. Even if Xiao Tian and I are both Hadao existences, it won't be difficult to surround and kill Chen Mingho. Feng Qingyang is still very confident about the way of time, and it has a control effect, can lock onto the void where the opponent is, and slightly affect the time there, although there is no Dzogchen realm time law in the creation life chart. An exaggeration, but definitely not to be underestimated. Fellow Daoist Feng, what are your plans next? Are you waiting here for Brother Ling Tian? Zhao Ani asked. Feng Qingyang nodded, I'll wait here for Xiao Tian to come back. I have something urgent to look for him. He had no choice but to wait and wait for his disciple Duan Ling Tian to come back. After all, he didn't know where he was now, and in this world of gods and earth, there is no way to carry out remote transmission like the creation world. For news, we can only wait in the most primitive way. Feng Qingyang didn't wait too long. Because Duan Ling Tian has nothing else to do for the time being. Apart from spending time with his family, he spends more time comprehending the way of control, preparing to promote him to the 9th level as soon as possible, and then integrate into the infinite sword Tao, allowing him to become a strong man who combines the 3 ways. When that time comes, the conflict between him and Chen Mingho will naturally be gone. However, even if the opponent still cannot be killed because there is a strong man from the 3 ways protecting him, it is still necessary to torture the opponent to vent his anger. Of course, for him, after the 3 paths are combined, the most important thing is to kill Yu Luoha and take back the creation chart. He could see that his relatives and friends were not used to life in the world of gods and earth, and they would be more willing to go back to their hometown if they could. Even for himself. In the world of the creation life chart, he can have multiple law avatars, and he can use the law avatars to accompany his family and practice cultivation. Wouldn't it be fun? The most important is, in the creation chart world, one can live forever. As for the so-called 1,000 years of heavenly tribulation and 10,000 years of heavenly tribulation rules in the creation life chart world, as far as he knows, they can all be changed by the owner of the creation life chart, otherwise there will be no historical barrier for the old man Kong Kong. In the previous era, the rules were it won't be different from his time. In addition to spending time with his family and practicing, Duan Ling Tian plans to return to Duan Mansion in Jianglan Divine Kingdom after a while to see if any of his family or friends have returned. But unexpectedly, he had the unexpected joy of meeting his master who was waiting for him, Feng Qingyang. Master, are you back? Duan Ling was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect that his master was back. And with his cultivation at the Hadao realm, it was not difficult to find out in the next moment that his master's current cultivation was, also. You have actually been promoted to the 9th level? So fast. He is worthy of being his guide in the way of swordsmanship. His master's attainments in the way of swordsmanship make it really difficult for him to catch up with him if he doesn't get the old man Wukong's memory trick. There were some adventures. Feng Qingyang said with a smile, and this is why I came back to you in a hurry. Immediately afterwards, he told about his adventure, which made Duan Lingshan's eyes brighten. Even if he was promoted to Hadao, now he was still a little excited at the time. You mean, the understanding of the law of time can transform on the path of time? What on earth is that place? Is it so weird? Master, take me over and have a look. Duan Ling Tian is now a little impatient. If he can master the way of space and can also use the understanding of the law of space, he can also quickly improve the Tao of space. Maybe he can overtake Palm the way of control first steps into the 9th level. Good. Feng Qingyang nodded, understanding Duan Lingshan's mood and taking him off immediately. On the way, Feng Qingyang asked about Wan Shanchen. Shen Mingho from the Wan Shanchen family intervened many times to prevent me from killing Na Yoyuo. Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed coldly and he said in a deep voice. Yoyuo? Feng Qingyang was startled. Isn't that the owner of the creation life chart? It was also the way of heaven inside when we were still there. It's him. Duan Lingtian nodded. How did you find him? Feng Qingyang was surprised. He didn't expect that his disciples could actually find those powerful Hadao men in the world of gods and earth who even dreamed of finding and killing Yu Luoha who had taken the creation life plan. Duan Lingtian said, after I stepped into the Hadao realm, I found that I had some connections with the creation life chart. I think it was because I was the life born in it, so I was promoted to Hadao. After the life level was sublimated, I had a relationship with it. There was some strange feeling. Chapter 4708. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang's eyes brightened, and then she said with surprise on her face, Is there such a good thing? Of course he knows what this means. This means that his disciple can find the creation life chart at any time in the future. As long as he has the ability to kill Yu Luo He, or seriously injure Yu Luo He and steal the creation life chart from his opponent, then he will be able to become the successor of the creation life chart. A new master people. When that time comes, people like them who have been exiled to the world of the gods and the world outside the boundary and the world may be able to go back. Although he didn't feel anything wrong with staying in the divine land world, he still felt that he was more accustomed to staying in the nirvana heaven. Maybe it was because he had stayed there the longest in the past, or maybe he was really older. Gone, old, began to miss old times and prepare to retire. Yeah, I didn't expect that either. Duan Lingtian nodded, then a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he sighed. Actually, when I first found Yu Luoha, his injuries were still very serious. At that time, I was 90% the above certainty can kill him, but, because I deliberately blocked the way for Chen Mingho, which affected my performance, so I couldn't take advantage of that opportunity to kill him. After that, I went to find Yu Luoha again, and his injuries recovered better every time. Because Chen Mingho kept interfering with me and took action, Yoyuo has recovered to the point where he is not afraid of me. After hearing what Duan Lingtian said, Feng Qingyang's face was gloomy, his eyes were cold, and he chose people to devour. Chen Mingho? He kind of remembered this person. With the speed of the two of them, Feng Qingyang soon brought Duan Lingtian to the place where he encountered the adventure. It was a dangerous place that even the 7th level of entry would not dare to enter. There were various unstable storms and turmoil inside. Time when there are storms, space storms, and terrible storms of various elements. After I went deep inside, under the pressure of the time storm, I understood the way of time. After enlightenment, I found that my past understanding of the law of time came in handy and fit perfectly with it. The path between time is advancing by leaps and bounds. You try too. Feng Qingyang said to Duan Lingtian. At this time, the two of them were bathing in this forbidden area called the Abyss of Violence. Even if the storm shook them, it had no effect on them. When I first came here, I only entered the 8th level, and it was quite stressful. It wasn't until I was promoted to the 9th level that I could roam freely here. My way of time was gained through the process of feeling the storm of time here, because there is also a space storm here. I think it is possible for you to master the way of space. Wherever Feng Qingyang looked, the storm was raging, sometimes oscillating, sometimes stagnant, but with strange fluctuations. It was the time storm. As for the space storm, it has a sense of tearing, causing the void within sight to fold and create waves like ripples. It seems that the secret of the law of space is revealed when the world is created. Almost many. After hearing what his master said, Duan Lingshan's eyes lit up, and then he began to wander around the abyss of violence. At the same time, he deliberately relaxed his mind and sensed the space storm here. Feng Qingyang followed closely, while continuing to integrate the past understanding of the law of time into the way of time, while watching the expression changes on his disciple's face. Time passed quietly. In the blink of an eye, 13 years have passed. On this day, Feng Qingyang, who was sitting cross-legged in the distance and meditating on the way of time, suddenly noticed a cold space fluctuation coming from a distance. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the person coming was his disciple Duan Lingtian. At that time, the space storm of the violent abyss not only did not impact him, but even continued to swim around him, like fish surrounding a person entering the water. Success? Feng Qingyang's eyes lit up and she couldn't help but ask. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded, with a bright smile on his face. After 13 years, he finally understood the way of space through the space storm here. The understanding of the laws of space in the past has become the key to this Tao of space. The help is indeed it's really big. I just realized it, and it's the 3rd level. Duan Lingtian felt that with his way of space, he might have a chance to surpass the progress of the way of control. In the way of control, he mostly followed the old path of old man Wukong. In fact, the road he took was still very short. If he wanted to go further, he would have no clue unless he could get a combination that contained the way of control. Taoist Monument. But the Hedao Monument is a treasure in the hands of any Hedao force. Basically, there are no idle ones, and they are all used by people to understand the Tao contained in it. He was able to observe the Hedao Monument of Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the first place because he contributed to Jianglan Divine Kingdom and obtained the Hedao Monument from Kuhai Temple. In that fight for the Hedao Monument, he could be said to be the main force. To put it bluntly, without him, let alone getting another Hedao stele, the original Hedao stele from Jianglan Divine Kingdom would have to be sent to the Kuhai Temple. Although the Yongye divine monk from the Kuhai Temple didn't say anything later. But occasionally, he could still clearly detect the sadness deep in the other party's eyes, as if he helped Jianglan Divine Kingdom away the other party's most beloved concubine. General. Master, go back. Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Qingyang. Now that I have understood the way of space, there is not much point in staying here. In addition, I have observed that in this violent abyss, in addition to time storms and space storms, among the many storms, there are actually life storms and death storms, but there are no elemental storms. That is to say, anyone who understands the 4 supreme laws in the creation life chart world will have the opportunity to understand the corresponding laws as long as they can enter here. The way of life. The way of death. Among the close relatives around me, there are some who have understood the 4 supreme laws in the past, but without the strength above the 8th level, there is no way to stay here for a long time, let alone comprehend the corresponding ways of the 4 supreme laws here. Speaking of what happened later, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh. What surprised both Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang was that when they returned to Jianglan Divine Kingdom after 13 years, they actually met Shui Qingzhu. She was still as gorgeous as ever, standing there with a coldness on her delicate cheeks and an aura that was out of the ordinary, like a fairy in the sky, as if it would be blasphemy to look at her more than once. Master's wife? Duan Lingtian was a little surprised. At the same time, he looked at Master Feng Qingyang next to him. He saw that Master's slightly frowning brows had finally relaxed. He smiled knowingly, and then retreated wisely, leaving some space. This pair has a Taoist couple I haven't seen for 100 years. Although the return of Master Shui Qingzhu was unexpected, it was also expected. With the strength of the other party, as long as nothing happens, after hearing the news about his promotion to Hedao, he will definitely come to Jianglan Divine Kingdom all the way. Chapter 4709. Neither Duan Lingtian nor Feng Qingyang and his wife stayed in Jianglan Divine Kingdom for long and left quickly. After all, people from the Wanshanshan family might still come to cause trouble. At this stage, Duan Lingtian has a chance to escape in front of the 2 major Hedao members of the Wanshanshan family. However, Feng Qingyang, who has not yet joined the Dao, and Shui Qingzhu, who has only entered the 7th level of the Dao, have absolutely no chance of being strong in the Hedao. The killer's men escaped of. Duan Lingtian returned to his family, and Feng Qingyang and his wife followed. After returning home, Duan Lingtian could see Yu Shao's joyful mood. Although he and Xue Qingzhu were holding hands and chatting about old times, his eyes fell more on his master Feng Qingyang. His thoughts were obvious. I have a deep love for him as my master. However, this kind of thing can only be solved by his master, and he, a junior, can just watch the show next to him. In the next period of time, Duan Lingtian, in addition to spending time with his family, was integrating his past understanding of the laws of space into the way of space, and the Tao of space was also improving at an extremely exaggerated speed, getting faster and faster. More and more amazing. In fact, Duan Lingtian is confident that within a few decades, the way of space will catch up with, or even surpass, the way of control. You must know that although the current method of control is not yet clear at the 9th level, it has reached the 8th level and should not be underestimated. Tired of staying at home, Duan Lingtian often took his wife out to travel outside of his cultivation. They traveled around the world incognito, and their footprints slowly covered almost every corner of the world of gods and earth. During this period, I also met some people who were not discerning, and without exception, they all ended badly. This is Shaoshan Divine Island. Niantian said in the past that he was trapped in a mining island in the dark night forest in the eastern region of Shaoshan Divine Island. Shall we go and have a look? After Duan Lingtian and his wives arrived at Shaoshan Divine Island, Li Fei suggested that although she was quite worried about her son's experience, times have changed and it is the best ending for her son to be safe and sound. It's just a pity. The son's enemy was rescued by Lei Hong. After talking about it, Li Fei sighed, with cold anger and unwillingness mixed in the depths of her beautiful eyes. Well, let's go take a look. Duan Lingtian nodded. Hearing Li Fei mention Lei Hong, his eyes were calm, his face was calm, and his tone was calm, that Lei Hong either hides for the rest of his life and never shows up, otherwise, as long as I catch one he will die without a chance burial place. He didn't expect that even though they were all exiled to the world of gods and earth, Lei Hong's hatred for him would still be so deep. Since he wants to play, then I will play with him. Soon, Duan Lingtian and his party traveled to the eastern area of Shaoshan Island and arrived at the dark night forest. Finally, after asking for directions, they found the mining island. Looking at the mine island, although Li Fei knew that her son was safe, she still felt sad. His son suffered a lot here. After not staying here long, Duan Lingtian and his party set off again to continue traveling around the world of gods and earth. While traveling, Duan Lingtian did not forget to understand the way of space. After all, this was the key to whether he could ask Wanshan Chen for an explanation and whether he could the creation life plate from Yu Luoha. He has a strong hunch that once the way of space is promoted to the 9th level, it will easily merge into his infinite sword way. After all, in the past in Wanjia, he followed the path of space swordsmanship. Now, the way of infinity is completely integrated into the way of swordsmanship. Once the way of swordsmanship and the way of space are integrated, the union of the 3 ways is right in front of you. The 3 paths merge into one. At this thought, Duan Lingshan's eyes were filled with hot flames. Only when the 3 paths are successfully combined can he truly stand at the pinnacle of this world of gods and earth. Moreover, the swordsmanship of infinite space, according to what he has learned so far, the world of gods and earth, there is no record in history that anyone has ever embarked on this path of harmony. Once he embarks on this path, he will be stronger than the current 3-way powerhouses in the world of gods and earth. Because those powerful Hadao masters who combined the 3 ways all followed the old road that others had walked, and precisely because of the 3 ways integrating one-way monument left by their predecessors, they took it as a reference. Can we take a crucial step and successfully combine the 3 Tao and become a strong man who combines the 3 Tao? They tried their best to kill Yu Luoha, and the old owner of the creation life chart was also killed. It is absolutely impossible to do it out of compassion for others. They must be worried that Yu Luoha will merge the way of living sacrifice into the original 2 paths and embark on a new path of combining the 3 paths, which will make them invincible in the world of gods and earth and threaten them. Those people in the world of gods and earth, those who are strong in combining three paths, follow the old path that others have walked, so although they are stronger than those who combine two paths, their strength is limited. They want to leave behind someone who is not weak in a face-to-face situation. There is a certain degree of difficulty for those who are strong in combining the two paths. Of course, in a normal duel, the strongest of the three combined forces will definitely win. However, it is difficult for them to kill a strong man from the combined path. However, if the powerful man from the Wanshanshan sex He San Dao attacks me, and another He Er Dao Chen Mingho steals the way, I may not be able to escape from the opponent's hands. This is also the disadvantage of following the same path as others. It is precisely because of this that Chen Mingho was so angry that he wanted to kill Duan Lingtian quickly. After confirming that Duan Lingtian was in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, he immediately rushed to Jianglan Divine Kingdom with his grandfather, who was a member of the three ways. I want to kill Duan Lingtian in Jianglan Divine Kingdom so that he can exclusively enjoy the infinite sword. Time flies by like a white horse passing by. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 years have passed. In these more than 100 years, all the old friends from the creation chart who are still alive have basically traveled thousands of miles to come to Jianglan Divine Kingdom after hearing about Duan Lingshan's name that made him famous in the world of gods and earth. The Duan mansion defected and had a place to stay since then. For a time, Duan mansion became even more lively. However, Duan Lingtian still asked the relatives and friends around him to stay outside, not wanting them to return to the Duan mansion and become the target of the Wanshanshan family and even Lei Hong. Since he failed to kill Duan Niantian and kidnapped Duan Nianshan's enemies, Lei Hong seemed to have completely disappeared. Try again. As long as you can break through in one go, these three paths will be unified. More than 100 years later, Duan Lingtian successfully understood the way of space with the help of his understanding of the laws of space in the past Dzogchen realm. The 9th level, he had already begun to try to combine it into the infinite sword way in the past few years. Take the most critical step. However, several years have passed, but they have not yet been able to successfully combine it. However, he is not discouraged. After all, if it were really that easy to combine the three ways, there wouldn't be only a few strong people in the world of the gods and earth. Chapter 47:10. What about you, Luoha and Chen Mingho? Duan Lingtian temporarily forgot about them. Because he knew very well that with his current strength, he couldn't do anything to them. Only by combining the way of space into the infinite sword way, and integrating the three ways into one, could he have the capital to intercept you, Luoha, and seize the creation life chart. Even go find Chen Mingho to settle the grievances caused by deliberately stealing the road in the past. The way of space is mysterious and unpredictable. A few years ago, he went to the two major unions of Jianglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple and asked them for information about the way of space. According to what they said, the way of space is among the 10,000 ways. Considered relatively strong big way. It is said that the super strong man who refined the creation life chart in the past had the way of space among the ways he combined. There is even a way of time. That person is said to be one of the few superpowers in the history of the world of gods and earth who combines the four realms. Of course, according to Jiang Tianzheng and Yongye Divine Monk, it is just a legend. No one can be sure whether it is true or not, because the person who refined the creation life chart was a figure from the world of gods and earth a long time ago and can be traced back to Taiku A time that is so far away from the present that it is unimaginable. The creation life chart also went to bed with that person at the end of his life, and rested in the tomb left by the other person. It was not until someone got the creation life chart that it reappeared in front of the world. The person who got the creation life chart was the old owner of the creation life chart in the past, and was also the way of heaven of the historical era where old man Wukong lived. In the past, it was precisely because that person was besieged and killed, and the creation life plate was shattered, that the lives inside were not as lucky as Duan Lingshan's generation, and they all died with the creation life plate being broken. Even if they were stronger than no time, old humans are not immune to being destroyed by the power of the rules of the creation chart. This time, Although the new master Yu Luohe was also surrounded and killed, the opponent had the means to save his life. He risked serious injuries and escaped with a slightly damaged creation life chart. As long as I integrate the way of space into the infinite sword way, I will not be afraid of anyone in this world of gods and earth, including those powerful men of the three combined ways. Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed with passion and yearning. In the past, in the world of creation and destiny, he was invincible in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. After coming to the world of gods and earth, although he was considered a strong man, there were still beings stronger than him. Now standing at the pinnacle of the world of gods and earth, there are still a few people who are stronger than him. As for other people, many of them are slightly stronger than him, but when combined with the two, even if they are strong, they are only limited. However, with the interference of Chen Mingho's shit-stirring stick, his strength can only be regarded as the bottom existence in the Hedao realm in the world of gods and earth, because when he is robbed, his strength will be significant restrictions, such as a result, it is naturally a big discount. When Duan Lingtian studied the way of space and merged into the infinite sword way, his master Feng Qingyang was also on the road to combine the way of time and the way of sword. His way of time also entered the 9th level a few years ago. As long as Hedao succeeds, you can master the sword of time. Although the time sword way is not a new way in the world of gods and earth, because the way of time is extremely difficult to understand, the number of people who have experienced the time sword way in the history of the god and earth world is extremely limited, so even though it is not a new way, they can still master it. Call it the quasi-new way. If Feng Qingyang could synthesize the time sword Dao, his strength would probably be second only to those strong men who combined the 3 Dao in the world of eyes and earth. Because of the existence of the other combined paths, the path that each person walks has a time when Kendo is new. For example, Duan Lingtian, even if Chen Mingho doesn't compete with him, Feng Qingyang, who combines the time swordsmanship with his infinite swordsmanship, is by no means an opponent. The difference lies in the newness or oldness of the Tao of harmony. The older the Tao, the weaker the power it can mobilize. In the end, Feng Qingyang was the first to successfully merge, and for a while, a strange phenomenon appeared in the world, shaking all directions. Even though there was no one nearby, the movement was so big that it spread widely. Practitioners further away saw the movement, and for a while the knowledgeable people were in an uproar. Someone succeeded. Oh my God! What kind of harmony is this? Look at this vision. One of them is the way of swordsmanship, and the other way is not recognized. This power looks extremely mysterious, and it feels more terrifying than the way of swordsmanship. There was a Hedao strongman who broke through. Even though everyone was curious, after confirming that the other party broke through in a deserted place, no one dared to get close, for fear of offending the other party. The other party is hiding in a place like this, obviously not wanting to be disturbed. If they rush over and disturb the other party, they will not be able to bear the drop of a finger when the other party is angry. I really didn't expect that in just 200 years, 2 powerful Hedao warriors would be born. Yes. This is also the first time in the history of the world of gods and earth. Those are powerful Hedao warriors. 2 people became successful within 200 years. Looking at the past history of the world, there has never been such a bizarre thing. While the people outside were shocked, Duan Lingtian and others also gathered over after Feng Qingyang broke through. Master, congratulations. Duan Lingtian was the first to congratulate him, and everyone else followed suit. They were Duan Lingshan's relatives and friends, and they all respected Duan Lingshan's master from the bottom of their hearts. Now, the other party has also succeeded in joining the Tao, which makes them marvel and inevitably feel happy. Because this also means that people like them can gain a better foothold in the world of gods and earth, and may not need to hide like in the past. So Wan Shanshen is not afraid of Duan Lingtian and Hedao realm. How can he not be afraid of 2 Hedao territory? Thank you all. Feng Qingyang responded with a smile, and at the same time looked at Duan Lingtian, with a look of eagerness on his face. Xiao Tian, can you and I find a place to spar? Master, there is no need. I am definitely not your opponent now. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said helplessly, not to mention my action, Chen Mingho will most likely cause trouble. Even if he doesn't cause trouble, infinite sword Dao will one path is far inferior to the time sword path. The former was killed by others, the latter is a quasi-new way. Hearing this, Feng Qing raised his eyebrows and his eyes were slightly cold. Xiao Tian, I have made a breakthrough now. Otherwise, you and I will go to the Wanshan family together to warn Chen Mingho. You and I are both in harmony, and now we are still really not afraid of their Wanshan family. They are a double master, so why are we not? Seeing that his master seemed eager to fly to the Wanshan family immediately, Duan Lingtian shook his head again. Master, there is no need for that at the moment. With our current strength, the most we can do is give them a warning. We can't do anything to them. With the strong man who combines the three ways, it's hard for us to touch Chen Mingho. Let's take a trip. Chapter 47:11. Master Feng Qingyang successfully joined the path. Duan Lingtian was happy for him, and at the same time, his motivation increased greatly. Continue to delve into the ways of space. As long as my way of space is integrated into the infinite sword way, and the infinite space sword way is achieved, with the strength of my master and me, no one in this divine earth world will dare to offend. Even the Wanshan family is not enough for concern. That old guy from the Wanshan family who combines the three ways, according to what the Yongye divine monk said, he only combined a path that many people have walked. In terms of strength, the 5 powerful people in the world of gods and earth who combine the three ways, he is the weakest. Over the years, Duan Lingtian occasionally went to Jianglan Divine Kingdom to find Jiang Tianzheng, and to Kuhai Temple to find Yongye Divine Monk. In addition to discussing Taoism, he also learned a lot about the world of divine land from their mouths, including those who are strong in Hadao. Among the 5 strongest people, Chen Zhouxiao of the Wanshan family is weaker. If he can integrate the way of space into the infinite sword way, not to mention surpassing Chen Zhouxiao, he can even surpass the other 4 powerful three-way masters in the world of gods and earth. At that time, with the cooperation of his master with the Sword of Time, even if it is a powerful person from the 3 combined paths, the 2 of them may not be able to intercept him. After I break through, I will first destroy Yu Luoha and seize the creation fate. Then, I will go to the Wanshan family and destroy that Chen Mingho. If Chen Zhouxiao dares to stop, then let's destroy them together. At this thought, Duan Lingtian's eyes also flashed with a bit of sternness. After all, he had no intention of provoking the other party at first, but the other party just came to him, looking like he was going to kill him, making him want to convince himself to let go. It's difficult to get past the other party. Continue. Taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian once again immersed himself in the understanding of the way of space and the way of the infinite sword. Currently, the integration of the way of space and the way of sword is advancing very quickly, but the only slower ones are the way of infinity and the way of space. Fusion of Tao encountered some difficulties. However, Duan Lingtian believes that as long as he is given time, he will be able to completely integrate it sooner or later. Once that time comes, it also means that his 3 paths merge into one. Since Feng Qingyang succeeded in joining the Tao, Duan Lingtian and others left that secluded place because it had been exposed. Even if no one would disturb them in a short period of time, over time, there would definitely be someone joining the way. Daoqiang come and visit Feng Qingyang, the newly promoted Hadao. Although with the current strength of Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang, even the 2 Hadao of the Wanshan family would have to consider it, they did not want to be disturbed, so they moved away. Changed to a secluded place with beautiful mountains and clear waters. After being promoted to Hadao, Feng Qingyang became more relaxed. According to what he said, his 3rd path was still early, so there was no rush. The matter of combining the 3 paths should be left to his disciple Duan Lingtian first. As for himself, he took Xue Qingzhu and Yu Shao out sometimes and came back sometimes, which was very uncomfortable. It is worth mentioning that with Xue Qingzhu's help, Yu Shao also became Duan Lingtian's mistress. To be precise, she is the 2nd master. Time is like sand that cannot be grasped, constantly flowing away, leaving no time to care. Spring passed and autumn came, and 1,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. After 1,000 years, Yu Luoha completely recovered from his injuries. Standing on the top of a steep mountain peak, Yu Luoha was wearing a white robe and his handsome face revealed a bit of evil. He looked into the distance with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. For more than 1,000 years, Duan Lingtian hasn't come back, it seems like he gave up. But Yu Luoha couldn't help but frown when he thought that Duan Lingtian could sense the location of the creation chart. This was something he never expected. After all, the creation chart was not made by him, and he didn't know what kind of hidden hand it contained. Over the past 1,000 years, he has also carefully studied the creation chart that has been restored to its original state and the worlds inside have been restabilized. However, in the end, he has not been able to understand why the creation chart was destroyed by the beings who walked out of it. Breakthrough perceived after reaching the Hadao realm. Judging from the current situation, Duan Lingtian probably has no intention of asking a strong person in the Hadao realm to help deal with me, otherwise, he would have come long ago. The creation chart has always been on Luo He, because this is his heady. The core of the way of life sacrifice is that as long as he successfully merges, his 3 paths will become one, which will be a new thing that has never appeared in the past history of the world of gods and earth. Tao, the real new Tao, not some quasi-new Tao. At that time, even if the 3 powerful men in the world of gods and earth join forces to deal with him, even if he is defeated, he will still be able to retreat calmly. It seems that Duan Lingtian doesn't intend to let others know where the creation chart is. Is he worried about making a wedding dress for others? After thinking about this, Yu Luoha secretly breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he was really worried that Duan Lingtian would bring a group of Hadao strong men to track and kill him. His only means of saving life had been used last time. If the previous situation happened again this time, if he was surrounded and killed, he would definitely die. But I still need to integrate the way of life sacrifice into my original way as soon as possible. After the 3 ways merge into one, even if I don't kill that part of Lingtian, no one will be able to take away the creation life chart. After years of hard work, Yu Luoha not only repaired the creation chart, but also allowed the way of life sacrifice to enter the 9th level. He is now on the road to combining the 3 ways and is preparing to combine them into one. A whole new way. Suddenly, the outer consciousness seemed to notice something, causing Yu Luoha's color to change instantly. Call. Call. I saw the void shaking in the distance. In a blink of an eye, 2 figures had already passed through Yuluo River's spiritual consciousness and came to the vicinity of Yuluo River. They stood there in the air and stared at the distance. Looking at him, it was 2 young men. One is wearing purple and the other is wearing green robe. Duan Lingtian? Feng Qingyang? As the owner of the creation life plan, although he cannot directly intervene in the life and death of the creatures in the world of the creation life plan due to the rules, it is easy to monitor them, so he has long known that Duan Lingtian, gentle breeze, what it looks like. Otherwise, when Duan Lingtian came to chase him, he wouldn't have recognized Duan Lingtian at first sight. The wind is gentle. Yu Luoha was really not afraid of Duan Lingtian. With his strength restored to its prime, it would be easy to defeat Duan Lingtian. If Duan Lingtian refused to retreat, it would not be surprising if he died at his hands. After all, the path he is currently following is a quasi-new path. He is also one of the best among the 2 strong men in the world of gods and earth. Otherwise, he was surrounded and killed last time. Even if he had the means to save his life, he would not be able to escape death. When his spiritual consciousness touched the past and approached Feng Qingyang, Yu Luoha's color changed instantly, and his face showed a look of horror. How is that possible? He has also been promoted to Hadao. When did Hadao become Chinese cabbage? Are you kidding me? Chapter 47:12. In the creation world, Yu Luoha was shocked by the emergence of an other like Duan Lingtian. A person who came out of a world like the creation chart, in his eyes, was like a material existence, and one day he was able to catch up with himself. You must know that you are the master of the creation chart, which is equivalent to watching an ant suddenly one day have as much power as yourself and be in the same realm as yourself. Now, looking at the two Hadao statues in front of him, he felt like his heart was trembling. Feng Qingyang, a being who was equally gifted and powerful in this creation life chart world and had always been second only to Duan Lingtian, actually after coming to the world of divine soil, he successfully merged with the Tao and became a strong Taoist. These two masters and disciples are going against heaven. A double path. Humph. Yu Luoha secretly took a breath of air and forced himself to calm down. Yu Luoha, who didn't want Duan Lingtian and the others to find out what a fuss he was making, suddenly snorted coldly, and then looked at Duan Lingtian with a joking expression. Duan Lingtian, don't you? Meeting, do you think you can keep me by bringing your master? Today, my Yu Luohi's injury has completely recovered. Don't talk about you and your newly promoted Hadao master, even if the Wanshanshan family has a double Hadao, it will be difficult for me to stay. Yu Luoha's strength is also among the best among the powerful Hier Dao. This is where his confidence lies. Maybe I'm not a match for the two of you together, but if you want to keep me, it's simply impossible. Yu Luoha said in a proud tone. Wow. The next moment, Yu Luoha soared into the air, his robes trembling, floating like an immortal. He faced Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang in the air, with a hint of teasing and disdain on his lips. Wanshanshan family? Facing the confident Yu Luoha, and hearing Yu Luoha's words again, Duan Lingshan's lips showed an evil smile and his eyes narrowed slightly. Yu Luoha, you actually turned Wanshanshan family into are those two Hideos compared to my master? Are they the only ones, also suitable? If it were another Hadao, even if his strength was as strong as the two from the Wanshanshan family, he would not trample on others verbally. After all, there was no grievance or enmity. However, the two members of the Wanshanshan family are no different from enemies to him. If you don't step on this kind of person, who else can you step on? Yo ho! Duan Lingshan's words made Yu Luoha couldn't help but laugh. Duan Lingtian, what do you mean by this? Are you and your master stronger than the two from the Wanshanshan family? Ridiculous. Once you take action, Chen Mingho from the Wanshanshan sect will definitely compete with you. How much strength will you have left by then? Today, if you didn't bring Feng Qingyang with you, would you dare to come to me? Trash. After saying this, Yu Luoha smiled ferociously, his eyes full of disdain. After all, in his eyes, Duan Lingtian was not a threat. He was just a weak Hadao. Once Chen Mingho snatched him away, his strength would be divine land world definitely at the bottom of the list. Such a person dares to shout in front of him? Ridiculous. Stealing the way? Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. Who told you? I, Duan Lingtian, am still sharing the same platform with Chen Mingho? As soon as these words came out, Yu Luoha couldn't help but frown and didn't react immediately. However, in the blink of an eye, it was like a bolt of lightning struck, splitting the chaos in his mind and bringing him back to consciousness. But soon he quickly objected in his heart, impossible. No way. How long has it been? It's impossible for him to successfully merge with the third path. Yu Luoha was not a fool. He quickly realized what Duan Lingshan's words meant, but the reaction was a reaction. He subconsciously thought that Duan Lingtian was doing it on purpose. Scared him because he thought Duan Lingtian couldn't be in such a short time. The third path will be combined within the time limit. Combining the three paths is not that simple, otherwise there would not be only a few people in the world of gods and earth with that strength. Unless there is something special about the life born in the creation chart. However, as Duan Lingtian raised his hand casually, the power of Hadao swept down. As soon as the terrifying power appeared, the world became larger. The sky that was originally daytime dimmed in an instant, and the terrifying sword energy spread across the sky. Heaven and earth, the void trembles, and countless tiny space cracks appear. You know, This is the world of divine land, and the stability of the space is beyond ordinary people's imagination. Even if a strong man from the three combined paths takes action, it will be difficult to break the space. Unless the one that combines them is the way of space. And now, with Duan Lingtian taking action, Yu Luoha has completely confirmed. Duan Lingtian has indeed merged into the third path, and it is also the way of space. Is it possible? At this moment, a crazy idea arose in Yu Luoha's mind. Can the laws of space in the creation world be brought out there and presented here in the form of the law of space? In addition, it was difficult for him to understand why Duan Lingtian could comprehend the way of space to the 9th level and integrate it into the infinite sword way in such a short period of time. He is the master of the creation life chart, and he knows Duan Lingshan's industry very well. Before coming to the world of divine soil, he had never been exposed to the law of space, but he was good at the law of space in the world of the creation life chart, and he had already to realize the state of Dzogchen escape dash. After confirming that Duan Lingtian had combined the third path, Yu Luoha only had fear in his mind. He quickly stepped away and planned to leave this place. However, Feng Qingyang, who had been staring at him for a long time, suddenly took action the moment he started. The power that was ready to go surged out, and soon the power of the sword was borrowed by him. The sword light was raging, as if it turned into a rain of swords. The land covered by the rain of swords, the void was stagnant, and even the speed of Yu Luohi's departure was too fast. Time has become much slower. At this moment, Yu Luoha also confirmed what path Feng Qinjiang was following. Time Kendo. This also allowed him to further confirm that some of the power of laws in the world of creation and life charts can be presented in the form of Tao in the world of divine earth. Go away. Yu Luoha roared angrily, and the terrifying power in his body shook. Then his power of Hadao was also attracted from the sky. However, in the process, he discovered that the speed of the power of Hadao was actually also affected by the gentle way of time affected and became a little slower. The overwhelming time sword rain shrouded the land, and time stagnated and slowed down. At this moment, Yu Luoha's scalp was numb and he felt desperate. How to escape? Without any hesitation, Yu Luoha gritted his teeth and said hurriedly, Duan Lingtian, if you want the creation life chart, I will give it to you. You and I have no grievances, so you don't have to kill me, right? Killing me will do you no good. Chapter 47:13. No injustice or enmity. Duan Lingtian stood in the sky, surrounded by terrifying power. He looked astonishingly powerful. He stared at Yu Luoha with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. You regard the people of the creation life pan world, including me, as your resources. Use it to understand the way of life sacrifice for yourself. Isn't this a grudge? My relatives and friends and I were separated in the world of gods and earth, and it was difficult to reunite. My son almost died outside. Isn't this considered revenge? Ridiculous. After the words fell, Duan Lingtian suddenly took action. The power behind his back shook. He borrowed the power of the infinite space swordsmanship and turned it into a giant sword in the sky. It fell with pressure and further blocked the sky and the sun in the dim sky. It was very terrifying. It was the power that shook the space, carrying endless power and striking down, as if it could crush everything and sweep towards the Yuluo River. And now Yu Luoha can't escape even if he wants to, because Feng Qingyang has taken action to control the flow of time in his space. Although it is impossible to stop him and the extent of affecting his speed is limited, at their level, even if just the slightest stagnation of speed is extremely fatal. Therefore, when facing Duan Lingshan's terrifying offensive, Yu Luoha could only bite the bullet and take action to meet it, because if he didn't take action, at his current speed after being stagnated, it would be no different from waiting to be killed. However, even if Yu Luohi took action with all his strength, his quasi-new power of the second path was still vulnerable to Duan Lingshan's new power of the third path. After a brief stalemate, it was shattered, and then Yu Luohi Zhen was also overwhelmed by Duan Lingshan's violent offensive. However, even so, he is still not dead. After all, he is the strongest. Under Duan Lingshan's full blow, the opponent tried his best to resist, but still survived. However, his body was seriously injured, his breath was weak, and his soul was crumbling like a withered lamp. Duan Ling Tian, don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, you can put forward any conditions. Yu Luoha, who was more seriously injured than the last time he was surrounded and killed by a group of Hadao, knew that he had no capital to escape now. As long as the person in front of him thought about it, his life could be easily wiped out at any time. Sorry, not interested. Duan Ling Tian spoke calmly, and with crisp movements, sent him directly to Luoha and back to the west. Yu Luoha, the master of the creation life chart, the way of heaven in all realms and beyond, may have never dreamed before that one day he would die in the hands of someone who came out of the world of the creation life chart. You must know that in his eyes, the people inside are just materials, ants used to help him understand the way of life sacrifice. After killing Yu Luoha, Duan Ling Tian also got the creation life chart from his Neji. Since then, he has achieved his purpose of coming to Yu Luohi this time. At the same time, he is preparing to study the creation life chart to see if he can make it those lives that have been exiled to the world of gods and earth, go home again. Hadao is still easy to kill. Feng Qingyang smiled and came forward to observe the creation chart with Duan Ling Tian. There was a little more expectation in his eyes. If possible, he still wanted to return to the nirvana heaven to retire in old age. If it hadn't been for your good cooperation, Master, I might not have been able to keep him on my own. Duan Ling Tian sighed and sighed. After all, he is a strong man in the combined way. Even if he only combines 2 ways, his strength is not trivial. Even if his 3 ways combined into one is a brand new way, he can crush the opponent, but his offensive is only strong, and he is no better than the opponent in terms of speed. How much stronger? The way of space can be banned, but it is not enough to keep the opponent. All in all, if Master Duan Ling Tian didn't use the characteristics of the way of time to freeze the opponent today, it would be difficult for him to let the opponent confront him head-on. With his current combined strength of the 3 paths, looking at the world of eyes and earth, he does not think that anyone can take advantage of him in a confrontation. Let's go back and study it again. Feng Qingyang said. Master has only been away from the 2 mistresses for a short while, and he misses them again? You kid, you're getting smaller and smaller. The main reason why he came to kill Yu Luoha this time was because Duan Ling Tian had made a breakthrough some time ago, successfully combined the 3 paths into one, and mastered the infinite space sword Dao. After getting familiar with the new way during this period, he couldn't wait to bring his master Feng Qingyang to Yu Luoha. It is worth mentioning that Master Feng Qingyang was able to sense the existence of the creation life chart after entering the He Dao realm. It can be seen that as long as the life comes out of the creation life chart, after entering the He Dao realm, all can have some subtle soul connections with the creation chart. Perhaps it is because their lives originally originated from the world of creation and natal charts, and it is difficult to break away from it. It was actually repaired. After returning home, Duan Ling Tian recognized the creation life chart as its owner, and after getting familiar with it, he observed the creation life chart world from the perspective of the way of heaven, and at the same time, he also had a certain understanding of the many rules of the creation life chart. Some of the things he learned made him secretly gasp. According to the rules of the creation life chart, the owner of the creation life chart cannot fully grasp all the rules before the 3 paths are unified into one, and can only master part of the rules. For example, as long as the life in the creation chart is in the world of the creation chart and has not left the world of the creation chart, you cannot directly kill it. There is no way to enter it, otherwise the rules will collapse. Once you enter by force, the creation life chart world will also be destroyed. But once this happens, it will not be able to comprehend the way of living sacrifice, so it is impossible for Yu Luohi to do this. If the owner of the creation life chart unites the 3 realms into one, he will be able to break these rules. Not only can he enter it physically, but he can even take the life of any living creature inside from a distance. Duan Ling Tian smiled. Fortunately, he has now united the three realms into one. Otherwise, when his relatives and friends return to the creation world, he, as the new owner of the creation chart, will not be able to go home. Is there still such a restriction? Feng Qingyang on the side was also a little surprised after learning the rules and details of the creation life chart from Duan Lingtian. In this case, if I were the master of the creation life chart, there would be nothing I could do before the three paths were unified. Return to the nirvana heaven? The master of the creation chart who combines the three paths into one has mastered all the rules of the creation chart world. It also includes finding him himself through the breath left by the life inside. Even if he wanders into the world of gods and earth, I can still lock his location just like I sensed the creation life chart when I stepped into Hedao before. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang's eyes were bright and he couldn't help but exclaimed, in other words. Whether it's Lei Hong or Yun Qinyan, you can still find them even if they are hiding in any corner of the divine earth world? That's right. Duan Lingtian nodded. I have an impression of the auras of both of them. As long as I spend some time to find out their auras from the creation life chart world and integrate them into my soul, I can sense them now. It's at its location. Haha. Okay. This time, they are doomed. Feng Qingyang laughed heartily, and then her eyes were cold, especially that Lei Hong, who almost killed Nian Tian last time. Duan Lingtian nodded, his eyes gradually becoming colder. This time, it's time to settle the old and new accounts together. Chapter 47:14. In the next period of time, Duan Lingtian began to search for the aura of Lei Hong and Yun Qinyan in the creation chart. Both of them were familiar to him. As long as he found their aura and integrated it into his soul, he would be able to sense it. Arrive their existence. After all, he is now the master of the creation chart, and the other two are the lives born in the creation chart. He is now the new way of heaven in all realms and beyond. While Duan Lingtian was immersed in the world of creation and life charts, Feng Qingyang raised his head slightly and looked at the turbulent vision on the horizon, a little surprised. It's been so long and it hasn't disappeared yet? After Yulua he was killed by his disciple Duan Lingtian, there was a vision in the sky where the road of Hedao collapsed. It was even possible to identify whose way it was through the road of Hedao, so as to know who was killed. At first, Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang thought that Yu Luoha had been killed, and the strange phenomenon enveloped the surrounding area, which was similar to the vision that appeared when they broke through the Hedao. However, until they returned to the habitat of their family and friends, the sky was still in harmony. The vision of heaven and earth where Tao falls, above the layers of clouds and mist, the road to Hedao collapses, and silhouettes can be vaguely seen across the sky, and then suddenly fall, completely silent. However, after this scene ends, the cycle continues again. This vision lasted for a whole day and night. And in just one day and one night, the entire world of divine land was in a state of shock. This is because the vision of the death of a strong Hedao man is different from the vision of promotion. It sweeps and envelopes the entire divine earth world. All the strong Hedao masters who have not retreated in the divine earth world discovered this at the first time. Vision, and the identity of the deceased person was confirmed from the path of Hedao presented in the vision. It's Yuluo. He's dead. Oh my god. Who killed Yuluo he? Last time, so many Hedao jointly attacked, but they couldn't kill Yuluo he, and now they are killed quietly. Did those three powerful men join forces to take action? At the same time, Chen Mingho of the Wanshan Chen family also found his grandfather Chen Jiuxiao. Grandpa, you didn't go out. Is it those people who did it? Many people now suspect that it was some three strong men from the world of gods and earth. The other party shot and killed Yu Luoha, but he knew that his grandfather had not been out recently, and he did not hear from the other party that other people had taken action, because those people were like if he wanted to take action, he would usually contact his grandfather. After all, his grandfather was a strong man of three ways. Who else could be there besides them? Chen Jiuxiao snorted coldly and said, "It seems that everyone is beginning to dislike me for being weak. They found Yu Luoha and they didn't even notify me. Hateful. The other three powerful men did not know Chen Jiuxiu's current thoughts, otherwise he would have died unjustly, because Yu Luoha's death had nothing to do with any of them. After a period of time, they gathered together and found out that none of them had taken action. They all looked confused and confused. That is how the matter? What's the situation? Then Yu Luoha, is it possible that the creation life chart backfired? But I never heard that the creation life chart can backfire on others. The creation life chart is a super strong person from the four paths in the history of our world of gods and earth. The thing he refined may have something special and can kill the two strong people. So, is the creation chart still an ominous thing? Fortunately, we got the creation life chart last time. We divided it into several parts and kept one each for safekeeping. If we really wanted to put it all together and leave it to someone to keep, we might end up harming him. Several three-way strong men began to think about it at this time. Among them, Chen Jiuxiu's resentment hidden in his heart has disappeared. It turns out that these people did not abandon him to kill Yu Luoha and seize the creation life chart. Yu Luoha had another cause of death. Sir, do you really not need me to serve you? I guarantee that as long as you try it once, you will never come back. In a splendid hall, a young woman with a good face found a bald man, looked at him with a seductive look, and said coquettishly. However, the bald man just glanced at her and gave her the word "get out." What rubbish. He had gotten tired of women a long time ago and was no longer interested in them. In his world now, there is only the word becoming stronger. If the other party hadn't been the enemy of Duan Lingshan's son and allowed him to discuss Duan Lingtian, he would have killed him with a slap. Grown-ups. If you don't get out, you'll die. Sir, I'm leaving now, I'm leaving now. Guo Lily just turned around and was about to walk out, but suddenly stopped, looking at one of the two figures not far away. Her pretty face suddenly changed color. Duan Yantian? At the same time, she also noticed Duan Nianshan's side. There was another young man who was somewhat similar to Duan Yantian. There was a bit more vicissitudes and maturity in his indifferent eyes, so that she guessed the other person's identity immediately. Duan Lingtian, the new Hadao powerhouse from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Plop. Guo Lily was so frightened that she collapsed directly to the ground after screaming, her whole body shaking violently, her eyes full of despair. How did the other party find this place? She couldn't imagine it. The 8th level Taoist who brought her here could not possibly expose the whereabouts of this place. After all, the other party also knew that his enemy was a powerful Taoist. Once he was found, he would definitely die. Huh. Lei Hong was closing his eyes to rest, and he didn't notice any abnormality with his spiritual consciousness that was always outside. After all, the spiritual consciousness of a strong Taoist can isolate the spiritual consciousness of entering the Tao. Under the cover of Duan Lingshan's spiritual consciousness, I and my son Duan Yantian were together. It was as if Lei Hong was invisible in front of his spiritual consciousness. But now, Guo Lily's exclamation made him wake up instantly like a dream, and he quickly opened his eyes. At just one glance, I saw two familiar faces. Duan Yantian, a little trash who has not yet entered Taoism, is no different from an ant in his eyes. The other person was the one who almost killed him in the past. Moreover, the other party is now in harmony. Duan Lingtian. How did he find this place? Lei Hong's expression suddenly changed, and at the same time he did not dare to hesitate. He immediately set out to break through the hall and prepared to escape. However, as soon as he hit the palace wall, he found that he could not move forward. A wall seemed to have been erected on the way forward, stopping him there, which also made him change his face again. What is it? This is space laws? No. It's the way of space? When Lei Hong was panicking and even despairing, Duan Lingshan's calm voice came slowly over. Lei Hong, it's rare for an old friend to see you again, and you ran away without even saying hello. Isn't it a bit rude? Chapter 47:15. Lei Hong's face was pale and he was sweating profusely, but his eyes when he looked at Duan Lingtian were filled with unwillingness. Duan Lingtian, how did you find this place? This place is so hidden that it is logically impossible for Duan Lingtian to find it. Although Guo Lily was brought here by him, this woman was always under the surveillance of his spiritual consciousness. She could not make any small moves at all. It was impossible to tip off Duan Lingtian, and the other party did not have the position to tip off the tip because she is the person Duan Lingtian must kill. Are you looking for Duan Lingtian to come here to kill you? I know I'm no match for you, but I hope that even if I die, you will let me die clearly. Lei Hong, who is well aware of the gap between himself and Duan Lingtian, knows that he will definitely die today, but if he cannot solve this doubt before he dies, he will really die in peace. To show my sincerity, I will help you kill this femme fatale who harmed your son. As soon as he finished speaking, Lei Hong struck out like lightning and killed Guo Lily from the air. Guo Lily fell to the ground with her eyes wide open. She could not figure out until her death why the person who saved her would help Duan Yintian kill her here. Then, Lei Hong stared at Duan Lingtian with red eyes and growled, "Lei Hong, please." Facing Lei Hong's hysteria, Duan Lingtian glanced at him lightly and said in a calm tone, "Lei Hong, according to my previous temperament, I will definitely not be able to answer your questions before you die. Now, I can explain something to you." If before he became the master of the creation life chart, faced with the current situation, he would have really not bothered to nag Lei Hong and killed Lei Hong directly. As for Lei Hong dying with a peaceful eye, what would it have to do with him? Dry? But now, after becoming the person who created the birth chart, his patterns suddenly opened up. In other words, his mentality has completely changed. In his eyes, Lei Hong is no longer the enemy or rival of the past, but just a little creature born in the world he controls. Yu Luoha has been killed by me. The creation chart has recognized me as the master. After combining the three paths, I can master the creation life chart better than Luohi. I can lock your position by collecting the traces and auras you left in the world of the creation life chart. When Duan Lingtian said this, Lei Hong's expression suddenly changed, and he looked at Duan Lingtian again, as if he had seen a ghost. Combine three paths? Although he felt that it was a bit outrageous and even a fantasy, he also knew that at this time, there was no need for Duan Lingtian to deceive himself. At this moment, he was filled with regret. If I had known that Duan Lingtian was so rebellious, when I had an enmity with Duan Lingtian, wouldn't I just have bowed my head to him and be done with it? Why should you look down on the other person just because you think the other person is a junior? Regret. Is there anything else you want to ask? Duan Lingtian said calmly, "If not, I will send you on your way." It's gone. Lei Hong smiled miserably, but at the same time, his strength vibrated, bursting out with the final glory. Although he knew that he was not Duan Lingtian's opponent, but with his character, he was not someone who just waited to be killed. Even if he knew that he was defeated, he knew that he would fight back. Resistance means death, but he doesn't want to wait for death. However, the strength of Lei Hong, who entered the 8th level of the Tao, in front of Duan Lingtian, who had combined the 3 levels, was like the difference between the light of a grain of rice and the brightness of the bright moon. He was wiped out by Duan Lingtian, and then Lei Hong's entire body was also suppressed by Duan Lingtian. The terrifying power was crushed, the spirit and soul were destroyed, and the body no longer existed. Duan Lingtian's enemy, who had been his enemy for many years, died at the hands of Duan Lingtian. If we say that when the two of them first became enemies, Lei Hong still had some strength to resist, but now Lei Hong doesn't even have the slightest strength to resist. Father, since Guo Lily and Lei Hong are both dead, please send me back. I also want to cultivate the way of space. I will first go back to the creation life chart world to lay the foundation, and then come to the world of gods and earth to transform it into the way of space. Duan Yintian said to his father that the strength his father showed shocked him. The once arrogant man who stood at the top of the world and the one who killed him casually had no way to fight back in front of his father. His strength was like fish on a chopping board for his father to slaughter. Although he knew that he would never have the hope of catching up with his father in this life, as Duan Lingshan's son, he really didn't want to be called a tiger father and dog son. He also wants to become stronger. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then sent his son back to the creation world. Some time ago, after he thoroughly grasped and became familiar with the creation chart and captured the auras of Lei Hong and Yunqin Yan, he asked his family and friends for their opinions, and then sent them back when they readily agreed. Create the birth chart world. After returning, everyone was very happy. Although the world of Divine Land is not bad, it is not their hometown. They still prefer to stay in the world or outside the world. Now, as the creation chart has been repaired, the land outside the world and the world have returned to their original appearance. However, many of the destroyed buildings have not been restored and are still in ruins. But these are not a problem for them. Just rebuild. After solving Yunqin Yan, go back to Jianglan Divine Kingdom. If the people of Duan Mansion and Qingyun Mansion want to go back to the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary, I will send them back together. As soon as his heart moved, Duan Lingtian disappeared from the place in a flash. When Yunqin Yan, who was now renamed Yun Xinfeng, saw Duan Lingtian, he thought he was dazzled. Then his face changed drastically and he wanted to escape, but was stopped without any accident. Yunqin Yan didn't even step into the 4th level, and even Lei Hong, who was on the 8th level, was stopped by Duan Lingtian at will, let alone him. Yunqin Yan, long time no see. Duan Lingtian looked at Yunqin Yan in front of him. Although the other person's appearance had changed due to the soul fusion with the souls of the Soul Clan in the past, he could still vaguely see the shadow of the past, especially that a pair of eyes is basically there is no difference. At this moment, Duan Lingshan's thoughts seemed to go back to the time when he was still in the secular plane, and the scene where Yunqin Yan came forcefully and trampled him under his feet. That day, Yunqin Yan was an invincible existence in his eyes, and he could crush him with one finger. And now, it's the other way around. He can crush the opponent with one finger. Duan Lingtian, how did you find this place? Yunqin Yan was a little doubtful about life. He specifically found a remote and uninhabited place where he was, and confirmed that no one was following him when he came here, and no one knew his identity or had any motive to follow him. But how did Duan Lingtian find him? I know you're curious. Duan Lingtian smiled lightly, however, I have no obligation to answer it for you. Just go to with this doubt. Then, when Yunqinjian's pupils shrank sharply and his face showed a look of horror, Duan Lingtian slapped him to death. He didn't even bother to talk nonsense to Yunqin Yan. In his eyes, Yunqinjian's hatred for him was much deeper than the hatred for Lei Hong. Everything has been solved. After visiting the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and sending everyone back to the creation chart, it's time to visit the Wanshan clan. On the way to Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Duan Lingtian had a thought and whispered. A few days ago, his master Feng Qingyang was asking him when he would go to Wanshan family for a stroll. He seemed to be more anxious than him. Now, it's time. Chapter 47:16. The Qin family in Wanshan occupies a vast area with beautiful mountains and clear waters and pleasant scenery. This place is also one of the top forces in the world of gods and earth, just because there is not only a super strong man who combines 3 ways, but also a strong man who combines 2 ways. A Shuanghedao is the confidence of Wanshan Chen's position as the dominant force in the world of gods and earth. In the past, even when the Wanshan family had only 1 Hedao strongman, no one dared to come to provoke him, let alone now that the Wanshan family has 2 Hedao strongmen, one of whom is a Hedao master. Existence. Now, if someone tells the people of the Wanshan sect that someone is going to them to cause trouble, they will only smile disdainfully and say bluntly, if anyone dares to come to our Wanshan sect to cause trouble, there will be no return. Really think we are 10,000 are the 2 Hedao ancestors of the Shanshan family made of clay? But today, the Wanshan family really welcomed 2 uninvited guests. Wow! A terrifying divine consciousness swept down and enveloped the entire Wanshan clan. The divine consciousness contained powerful power, as if it had no reservations. It instantly overwhelmed everyone in the Wanshan clan and felt it was difficult to breathe. The lower ones were even pressed to the ground, trembling. This is a strong Hadao person? Many monks from the Wanshan clan shrank their pupils, with expressions of astonishment on their faces. They couldn't figure out which strong Hadao man dared to come to their Wanshan clan. Come to fight wildfire, this is not to put the two Hadao of their Wanshan family on in your eyes? You know, one of their Wanshan clan's Hadao exists in Hadao. Where does this powerful Hadao man dare to mess with our Wanshan clan? Humph. How strong we are now, but how embarrassed we are when we run away. We, the Wanshan sect, are a double Hadao master. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, we are not afraid of anyone, including the strong Hadao masters. Even though they knew that a strong Hadao man was coming, everyone in the Wanshan family did not panic at all, just because there were two Hadao ancestors behind them. Now many people are already expecting the two ancestors to take action, kill those who retreat, let those who come, scenes of people fleeing in embarrassment. Time Kendo. An indifferent voice seemed to come from the abyss, with a bit of anger and coldness, sweeping across the entire Wanshan family. Soon, a figure, as if teleporting, roared from the depths of the Qin family in Wanshan. In an instant, it was not far away from the two young men in the void. It stared at the young man in green among the two, his face as gloomy as water, but he is an old man who looks like a child with gray hair. It is Qin Zhouxiao, the powerful master of the three combined paths of the Wanshan family. It seems that you are the mysterious new Hadao from the world of gods and earth thousands of years ago. Qin Zhouxiao stared at Feng Qingyang, his eyes flashing. The sword of time is indeed powerful. But if you think of our Wanshan family running wild based on this, I'm afraid it's not qualified. Before Feng Qingyang could speak, another figure appeared. Feng Su Yufeng arrived, but it was Qin Mingho who came closely behind Qin Zhouxiao, another strong Taoist of the Wanshan family, who combined the same Tao that Duan Lingtian had previously combined. Sword Dao, after he appeared, he stared at Feng Qingyang with the same cold eyes. The consciousness just now was that of Feng Qingyang, who used Qin Mingho's anger against his disciple Duan Lingtian to forcefully suppress the people of the Qin family in Wanshan. A newly promoted Hadao dares to go wild in our Wanshan clan. Do you really think that our Wanshan clan has no one? Qin Mingho sneered, with a bit of cruelty at the corner of his mouth. If you have the ability, don't run away later. Fight me until death. Until death? Feng Qingyang smiled and glanced at Qin Mingho with disdain. Qin Mingho, right? You, who are walking on such a bad path as the infinite sword way, have the confidence to say this? Without Qin Zhouxiao, would you dare to say this? Qin Mingho, who was despised, was struck by Feng Qingyang's thoughts, and his face suddenly darkened, with killing intent in his eyes. Master, since he wants to fight to the death, let's help him. On the side, the young man in purple who had not spoken until now spoke in a calm tone, and at the same time as he spoke, he who was originally reserved suddenly seemed to become a beast that traveled across time and space from ancient times. The beast exudes a terrifying aura. Wow! The consciousness of the combined three paths spread out and swept across all directions. Even the consciousness of Qin Zhouxiao, who had just appeared and crushed Feng Qingyang's consciousness, was shaken to the point of collapse in front of his consciousness, as if it could be shaken at any time. May collapse. Three powerful ones? Qin Jiuxiao's expression changed instantly. He was both a strong person in the three ways. At this moment it was not difficult to confirm the Tao that the other party had mastered, and even a new Tao that had never appeared in the history of the world of gods and earth, the way of infinity, the way of swords and the way of space, three ways in one. Are you Duan Lingtian? Qin Zhouxiao immediately guessed the identity of the young man in purple in front of him. He must be Duan Lingtian, who had been exiled from the creation world to the divine earth world. Duan Lingtian, in the past, he joined forces with the infinite sword Dao. There was a Tao conflict with his grandson Qin Zhouxiao, so much so that they even went to the Jianglan divine kingdom to cause trouble for each other. That time, it was considered that the relationship was established with the other party. Today, a three-way strongman who mastered the infinite space sword technique came to the Qin family in Wanshan, looking like he was looking for trouble. Even if he didn't want to believe it in his heart, he didn't dare to believe it, but he had to believe it. That is Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, such a super strong man would come to Wanshan Qin family to look for trouble when he has nothing to do. Duan Lingtian? At this moment, Qin Mingho's expression changed drastically. How is it possible? You have only been able to combine the two realms for more than 1,000 years. How could you combine the third realm so quickly? He also realized that the person in front of him was him. In the past, he hated the person he hated deeply and wished he could crush him to ashes. But he was hiding and he couldn't do anything to him, but he didn't expect that the other person would come to him and cooperate with him. He passed the third path and became one of the rare three-way powerhouses in the world of gods and earth. Moreover, the opponent's infinite space swordsmanship seems to have never appeared in the past history of the world of eyes and earth. A brand new 3 ways in 1. In front of the opponent's consciousness, his consciousness was ruthlessly crushed. Even the consciousness of his grandfather Qin Zhouxiao, who was also a strong man in the 3 realms, was like a withered lamp and a dying fire in front of the other party's domineering consciousness. Tottering, it can be seen that the strength and dominance of Feng Shuo's way. Duan Lingtian, what happened in the past was my fault. If you are angry, I can apologize to you. Although he was reluctant in his heart, at this moment, Qin Mingho, under the urgent voice reminder from his grandfather Qin Zhouxiao, lowered his proud head, suppressed his voice, and spoke in a very low posture. Qin Zhouxiao had to be the first to give in. The other party is also a double master. The second master on the other side masters the time sword. His grandson's infinite sword is no match. As for Duan Lingtian, he is taking a brand new path of 3 paths in 1, which is definitely beyond his ability to deal with. At the same time, he was also secretly cursing in his heart that when Lingtian's 3 paths merged into 1, he must have chosen an extremely remote place. Otherwise, even if he did not see the vision of the 3 paths merging with his own eyes, someone would definitely see it, and even spread throughout the world of gods and earth. The vision of 3 realms merging into 1 covers a similar range to that of 2 realms merging into 1, but it can be seen from it that it is 3 realms merging into 1. Haha. However, Qin Mingho's resignation was replaced by Duan Lingtian's chuckle. If apologizing is useful, why did I still work so hard with the third way? Chapter 47:17. When the words fell, the expressions of Qin Mingho and Qin Zhouxiao changed drastically. Duan Lingtian also took action like thunder. The terrifying aura swept across all directions, and the fierce sword light with the aura of space filled the sky, seemingly endless, roaring across the sky. Coming, it seems to have turned into a cage of heaven and earth. The entire world is imprisoned inside. In an instant, the raging space storm spread, and a large area of buildings belonging to the Qin family in Wanshan was directly razed to the ground, and even the nearby mountains and rivers were flattened. Above the sky, the combined power of the infinite space swordsmanship rolls down like an invincible galaxy, falling from the sky. The accompanying terrifying aura is almost suffocating. This is the unification of the 3 new ways. Boom! There was an explosion, followed by a series of loud noises, and wailing could be heard everywhere in the Wanshan Qin clan's residence. The monks above the level of Taoism successfully escaped for their lives, while those below the level of Taoism and the stronger ones also escaped in embarrassment, and many others were forever they were left where they were, and the family ruins became their burial ground. Duan Lingtian, you are too arrogant. Qin Zhouxiao was furious, and the power of the 3 paths also swept over him. However, the power of Hedao, which was so powerful in the past, was obviously lacking in background when compared with Duan Lingtian's power of Hedao. Wow! Feng Qingyang and Qin Mingho also took action almost at the same time. Chen Mingho had a sinister look on his face. He looked fierce, but in fact, there was heartfelt fear deep in his eyes. Facing a strong Hedao master who has mastered the sword of time, he has no confidence in winning, but he still has a certain degree of confidence if he wants to escape. After all, no one can compete with him now. However, now that he thinks about this, he is not happy at all. It can even be said that he now wishes that Duan Lingtian could still compete with him. If that is the case, it also means that Duan Lingtian has not made any further breakthroughs and has not merged into the third path based on the infinite sword path. Damn it! How could this Duan Lingtian be so defiant? In just over 1,000 years, he first merged with the two realms to join the ranks of the powerful ones in the world of gods and earth, and then merged with the third realm and mastered the power of the three realms. When, together 3 ways, and a brand new way. Is it that simple? Is it possible that he has some tricks? Thinking of this, Chen Mingho felt jealous and angry. Why are all the good things taken away by the other party? God is unfair. Soon, Duan Lingtian and Chen Zhuoxiao collided together. The two people's strength clashed, causing everything in a large area around them to turn into powder. Dust was flying all over the sky. The only visible creatures were Feng Qingyang and Chen Mingho, 2 people. The aftermath of their fight was not enough to affect Feng Qingyang and Chen Mingho. And now Feng Qingyang has also become involved with Chen Mingho. After a brief exchange, Duan Lingtian gained the upper hand. On the other hand, Chen Zhuoxiao looked gloomy and ugly, and even his hands were trembling slightly. It could be seen that the blow just now put him under a lot of pressure. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian is still as handsome as before, without any damage. The gap is so huge that it can be seen at a glance. The new path that combines 3 paths into one is so terrifying. At this moment, Chen Zhuoxiao had already begun to think about quitting, and he felt that as long as he wanted to leave, Duan Lingtian would not be too lazy to let him go. Mingho, let's retreat. It will do us no good to continue fighting for a long time. Chen Zhuoxiao sent a message to Chen Mingho and said to him. Now, Chen Mingho was being beaten by Feng Qingyang. At that time, the kendo, as a quasi-new way, completely overwhelmed his infinite kendo, making him feel helpless and powerless. He realized the gap between himself and the opponent, and only can barely resist the opponent's hand. However, it is not that easy for the other party to kill him. Escaping unscathed, he asked himself whether he could still do it. Chen Zhuoxiao was confident that he would be able to escape from Duan Lingtian's hands. Chen Mingho was also confident that he could retreat under Feng Qingyang's hands. However, what if Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang team up to target one person, and it is the weaker Chen Mingho? Boom! An earth-shaking loud noise, like thunder on the ground, suddenly sounded. But when Duan Lingtian faced Chen Zhuoxiao, he suddenly exploded, but the target was not Chen Zhuoxiao, but Chen Mingho. Wow! The sword light that filled the sky seemed to spread infinitely from the void, tearing the sky apart, converging into a sword, and killing Chen Mingho. Under this sword, the void shook, and tiny space cracks appeared one after another, which was shocking. On the other side, Feng Qingyang also took action at the same time. The characteristics of the time sword changed and enveloped Chen Mingho, freezing his figure. Not to mention that Chen Mingho now has no fighting spirit and is waiting for an opportunity to escape. Even if his fighting spirit is boiling, it is difficult to survive under the hasty siege of Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang. After all, his infinite sword technique is really too old and broken. Mingho. Chen Zhuoxiao never expected that Duan Lingtian, who was fighting with him, would suddenly turn around and attack Chen Mingho. Moreover, this was when he reminded Chen Mingho to prepare to escape. Dash! Chen Zhuoxiao became furious and rushed to the rescue, but in the end it was still a little late. I saw that under Feng Qingyang's stagnant control of time, not only did Chen Mingho's body speed slow down a lot, but even the speed of his shots also slowed down. Feng Qingyang was concentrating on controlling the field and not launching an offensive. can to maximize the control of time. Feng Qingyang is in charge of control, while Duan Lingtian is in full power output. The power of the three paths, and it is also a brand new way. Looking at the contemporary world of Earth and Earth, he considers himself second in terms of attack, and absolutely no one dares to claim first. Boom! The loud noise shook the Earth and the Earth. Even if Chen Minghe was ready to resist, he was still vulnerable to Duan Lingshan's offensive that seemed to be able to destroy the world. In the blink of an eye, he was blasted with half of his body left. After all, even if his strength was compared to Luo Luo's, he was still vulnerable. There are many in Hedu, so naturally they cannot stop Duan Lingshan's terrifying offensive. With just one blow, Chen Minghe was killed by Duan Lingtian. Of course, it was also because Feng Qingyang cooperated well, otherwise Chen Minghe would have been injured at most, or even seriously. A strong Hadao person, even if he is following a dilapidated path, his strength cannot be underestimated. Boom! 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 Red clouds and dark clouds were raging in the sky, and blood rain poured down, covering the Chen family that had been razed to the ground. It even continued to spread in all directions, and once reached the sky covering the entire Divine Land world. For a time, the whole world of Divine Land was in panic. Is this another strong person from Hadao dying? Oh my God! How many days has passed? The owner of the creation chart, Yu Luoha, who practiced the taboo of life sacrifice, died just a few days ago, and Hadao died again? This is Infinite Sword Dao? Was it the newly promoted He Dao Duan Lingtian who died 1,000 years ago? Was he killed by two members of the Wanshan family? Chapter 47:18. In the contemporary world of the gods and earth, there are two people walking on the path of Infinite Sword. One is Chen Minghe, an aboriginal member of the Wanshan family's sacred land world, and the other is Duan Lingtian, an alien creature from the creation world. Duan Lingtian was promoted to Hadao later, because he also followed the Infinite Sword Way, which overlapped with the Hadao path taken by Chen Minghe, which was tantamount to being an enemy of Chen Minghe head-on. If Chen Minghe was just a loner, that would be fine. With him walking the Infinite Sword path, Chen Minghe would be unable to do anything to Duan Lingtian. But the problem is, Chen Minghe is not alone. There is even a more powerful Hadao expert behind him. He is one of the few people standing at the top of the world of gods and earth, a super strong man who has combined the three ways. In this situation, many people felt that Duan Lingtian was going to be unlucky. In fact, many people have heard that Chen Minghe and Chen Jiuxiao went to Jianglan Divine Kingdom to find Duan Lingtian, and they feel that they will not let Duan Lingtian go easily. But now, a strong man with unlimited swordsmanship has died. The first thing everyone thinks of is Duan Lingtian, and no one thinks it is Chen Minghe, just because there is Chen Jiuxiao standing behind Chen Minghe. Escape dash. As soon as Chen Minghe died, no matter how angry Chen Jiuxiao was, he knew that he could not change anything, so he immediately chose to run away, for fear that if he continued to stay, he would end up here. As a strong man of the three paths, even if he is following a dilapidated path, he still cannot be underestimated. At least, the stagnant nature of Feng Qingyang's time sword way has almost no effect on the opponent. That is the level difference of the Hadao road. The three paths have natural pressure on the second path, so that Feng Qingyang has difficulty limiting his speed. In this case, even if Duan Lingtian was stronger than the opponent, he still could not intercept the opponent. It's a pity that he ran away. Feng Qingyang sighed, a little regretful. Duan Lingtian had already expected it, and smiled calmly and said, after all, he is a strong man of the three realms, so it is normal that he cannot be kept. If you want to kill him, I'm afraid I need master to combine the three ways, or I need to combine the four ways. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang said angrily, then I must join the third path first. That's not necessarily the case. Duan Lingtian smiled even brighter, Master, some time ago, my method of control has made some progress after I controlled the creation life chart and understood the rules. I have already stepped into it. 9th floor, next I plan to try to see if you can combine the 4 paths with the help of the creation life chart. 4 ways together. Once you take this step, you will be truly invincible. Even in the world of gods and earth, if all Hadao united to surround and kill Duan Ling Tian, they would not be Duan Lingshan's opponent. Of course, even if Duan Ling Tian is now, he may not be a match against all the Hadao attacks in the world of gods and earth, but it is not difficult to retreat unscathed. He may even be able to escape with a few powerful Erdeo soldiers at the same time. By to meet their old friend who was on the road to first. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang was speechless for a while, then sighed for a moment and said feebly, "Send me back to the Nirvana heaven. Master, in fact, you can keep the law clone inside, and I will continue to stay in the divine earth world. Don't you want to challenge the powerful Hadao realm in the divine earth world?" Duan Ling Tian asked with a smile. Returning to the creation life chart world, the law reappears, and the clone of the law can naturally be condensed again. Let's wait for a while. I'm a little tired now. You're such a tough guy. Feng Qingyang waved her hand and shook her head. When Duan Ling Tian heard this, he didn't say anything more and sent his master Feng Qingyang back to the world of creation and destiny. As for him, he rarely goes back in his true form, because there are many clones of him in the creation life chart world, and he can accompany his family at any time. He'll go find some other 3-way experts to spar with each other. After killing Chen Mingho, Duan Ling Tian felt empty, as if he suddenly had no goals. After all, even Lei Hong and Yun Qinyan, his 2 old enemies, were dead. Looking around, I haven't thought about it for the time being. Target to target. As for Chen Zhouxiao, wait until the 4 paths merge into one before going to play with him. Of course, Duan Ling Tian also knows that although the other 3 Hadao experts in the world of gods and earth are stronger than Chen Zhouxiao, their strength is limited and they must not be his opponents. He just wanted to see their methods. When Duan Ling Tian went to the forces of several other 3-way powerhouses and challenged and defeated them, it naturally caused a great sensation. As the news of his 3-in-1 unity spread, the entire world of gods and earth was shaken and in an uproar. It turns out that the strong man who practiced the infinite swordsmanship who died last time was not Duan Ling Tian. Duan Lingshan's 3 paths merged into one? The one who died must be Chen Mingho. Didn't he advance to Hadao 1,000 years ago? In such a short period of time, the 3 paths merged into one? You think? Could it be that he also killed Yu Luaha, the owner of the creation life plank? If he did it, the creation life plank must be in his hands now, right? Many people guessed that the fate of creation was in Duan Lingshan's hands, and some were even moved by it, and even thought of uniting with many Hadao people to target Duan Ling Tian. However, after all, there was no guarantee that Duan Ling Tian would be retained, so in the end he had no choice but to let it go. Another 3,000 years passed, when they saw the vision of the fall of Hadao appearing on the horizon again, and this time it was a strong man of the 3 paths who died, that is, Chen Zhouxiao, who survived the Wanshan Chen family in the past. I couldn't help but feel lucky that I didn't provoke Duan Ling Tian to be able to kill Chen Zhouxiao. This Ling Tian, isn't it possible that he has combined the 4 paths? Only when the 4 paths merge into one can he possibly kill Chen Zhouxiao. At this time, Duan Ling Tian didn't even need to show up to show his strength. A group of strong men in the world of gods and earth had already guessed that Duan Lingshan's 4 ways had merged into one, and he had become the only powerful man of 4 ways in the world of gods and earth in the contemporary era. Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Jiang Tianzheng and the Eternal Night Divine Monk from the Kuhai Temple, the 2 of them gathered together and looked at each other with extremely complicated expressions. I really didn't expect he would actually take that step. It's really incredible. Jiang Tianzheng, a strong Taoist from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, let out a long sigh. He never expected that Duan Ling Tian could combine the 4 Taos into one. In the past, when he heard that Duan Lingshan's 3 realms merged into one, he was shocked enough. Now he felt that he had lived like a dog for so many years and was not even as good as a hair on Duan Lingshan's legs. Yes, in just a few thousand years, he has gone from a little guy who has not yet entered the Hedao to an invincible existence in the world of gods and earth. The Yongye divine monk couldn't help but sigh. Since the four paths merged into one, Duan Lingtian has also become more leisurely, spending most of his time accompanying his wife, adding several younger brothers and sisters to Duan Niantian and Duan Siling. It is worth mentioning that his master Feng Qingyang's two wives also became pregnant one after another and gave birth to a son and a daughter. For a while, the two of them were enjoying themselves among their children, and they were so happy that they no longer thought about God and earth. Season finale. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.